Hey everyone, welcome to the Invest with Nikki podcast. I'm Nikki Rosenberg, your host, where we talk all about real estate, wealth building, and building your fire. Your fire is building financial independence so you can retire early. And today I'm so excited. We have an incredible guest for you guys. I can't wait to introduce him. He has over 2 decades in construction experience. He is an expert at doing high-end luxury renovations and builds. He's Stephen Bradshaw with BB Co. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, Steve Bradshaw, like Nikki said. Thanks for the introduction. I've been in the industry for 21 years, which seems like a long time. It's flown by. I love what I do. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I'm so excited because we've obviously been doing so many projects together. Mm-hmm. And I've been learning a lot from you. And I've just really loved our partnership. So thank you for, bringing your expertise today and spending time with us. I know you are slammed right now with projects.
Yes, and that's all thanks to you.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm just curious, how many millions of dollars in projects do you have going on right now just from our deals?
From our deals, and this is staggering because it's just in the last couple months, probably last 5 months, It's over 3 million. So I think we're at 3.3. And that doesn't include the pending deals. There's still...
Oh, yeah. We got 3 pending, yep. I think. And those are all pretty big projects. I mean, those are all really high-end luxury flips. And one thing, they're not going to get to see it today, but you guys are going to have to watch because Steve and I are going to be going on site to properties, and we're going to show you guys, what we're actually doing at these properties. You're going to get to see that before and after, that transformation. It's going to be really great. So you guys are definitely going to have to watch those videos when those come out. And today, it's really just all about the podcast and getting to know you, your business, what value you bring to the industry, and how we really work together and how people can work with you on future projects, right? Absolutely. So tell them, how did you get started in the luxury renovation space?
Yeah, it was much by accident. Major renovations are not simple, straightforward projects. They're complicated. There's a lot of unforeseens, and I think that's why a lot of contractors kind of steer away from it. New construction is more glamorous because you know what to expect. You're not going to open up a wall and find a surprise that then sets back the schedule, the budget. So I didn't go out looking for these types of projects. They kind of found me. I've, like you introduced me, I've been in this for 21 years, so I've seen a lot, I've done a lot. And then it's probably the last 4 or 5 years that we kind of niched out on these renovations. And so, we've been doing them really hot and heavy the last couple of years.
That's great. And what's is there a big difference in your profit margins? Say if someone was really just a new construction versus doing higher end renovations, is there a huge difference in the profit margins?
And that's kind of the... when you set off, or when, at least this is my experience, when I set off to do these major renovations, because there are so many questions and unknowns, our approach initially, and this isn't the approach that we have now, but was to pad our margins to protect ourselves, because obviously we're a business, we have operating costs, we're responsible for a team, they depend on us for employment, and if we're not making the necessary money to keep the doors open, then it all goes poof. And so to avoid that, we would initially stack our profit margin higher, which for us didn't really seem like a successful. It wasn't a win-win for everybody involved, and so we've since gone to more of a cost plus contract situation with our clients when it comes to projects like this. And so and we can dive into that now.
What is cost plus? What's the difference between just bidding a job?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally most people are familiar with lump sum contracts, where they have a project, they have a kitchen renovation that they want to do, and we would meet with the client, they'd walk us through their vision, we would conceptualize that and a hard cost, and then we would put a fixed overhead and profit number to that, and we'd say, hey, the entire kitchen project's going to be $55,000, and that's what they expect to pay, that's what we expect to charge. Obviously change orders come in here and there, but for the most part that's lump sum. Cost plus is what we use for these major renos, and that's where we don't know. And so like a lot of the clients that we've met, you know, we'll meet with them on site. We have this, you know, your vision, the client's vision.
We'll talk about that.
That, you know, I'm just standing back listening to the you know, the conversation. And what I'll take from those conversations is a general budget. So, you know, you've talked about a pool, you've talked about opening this wall, you've talked about new flooring, all these things. And then I'll go to the client and say, hey, you know, anticipate $100,000 for the pool, anticipate around $60,000 for X, Y, or Z. And then we give them that budget. And then we, and we can talk about schedule too, but once we get hard costs from our trade partners for that, then we just tack on our agreed upon overhead and profit margin. So that it
kind of allows you to, you know, obviously we know that it's kind of notorious that general contractors don't stay on time and they don't, you know, stay within budget. But like the cost plus model gives you a little bit more flexibility because 100%. It's like you're transparent with your clients about how much you're earning, right? They know what your profit is because it's a predetermined percentage, right? And then they can go into the project and know, okay, generally with this scope, here's how much it's going to cost. And then I just, you know, pay my general contractor the additional markup for his time and project management and, you know, all the things. So it allows you to have, like, I guess, a little bit more flexibility in what you do because you're not like, I feel like that would lend to have better quality projects because you're not just trying to do everything as cheap as possible and 100%. Stay in this budget when maybe something popped up that is totally unexpected. And now you're like, oh, well, I can't make it work in this budget. But like the cost plus model, you know, everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows what's happening. There's clear transparency. You're not trying to like rush something and do it as cheap as possible because all that's already on the table. Would you say that's...
You hit it nail on the head. So the two big things are flexibility and then also being an advocate for the client. And this is how we communicate with our clients. We say, you know, you're the CEO, you're the visionary, you're the one with the dream and the ambition and the picture that you've already painted. We're there to just make it a reality. So we're the COO of every project. And we're not on opposing teams. You know, obviously, again, we have costs that we have to account for as a business, but we're transparent with what those costs are. So going back to cost plus in terms of flexibility, it allows us to move faster because now we're not beholden to, hey, I got to get a fixed price from my trade partner for this, and then I got to take that information and put it in a proposal and hand it to our client.
Go get approval
it's we know the broad brushstroke of what we're trying to accomplish,
right?
And then we'll put the order of precedence, and then when we get to each one, we talk about it. So it allows us to we'll get multiple quotes. So let's say it's for tile. We'll get multiple quotes from our trade partners, and then we'll review the quotes with our client. We'll go over pros and cons on why this trade partner might be better than the other, what their schedule is. We make that determination to, you know, as a team, and then we move forward. So yeah, flexibility. And then again, when it comes to, I'm not trying to do it at the cheapest cost. I'm doing it at the highest quality and standard. And there's no risk on our part for you know,
you're
the unknowns or
you're really in that model. I could just see how it lends to a much better end product.
Absolutely.
Right, because you are again you're not just stuck with this like one way box. Like it's you've got, you know, that, like you said, that flexibility to move and get things done. And so yeah, that's really great. So I want to know, like, what kind of projects just light you up the most and why?
So we like the high quality custom stuff. We like to be able to show off our trade partners' skills, and to be able to, put our hand at, you know, the beautiful luxury, like we've been doing luxury projects.
Yeah.
To be able to turn a space from, mediocre to, wow, this is a showstopper. So those, and I think a lot of people would say that. I think a lot of builders would say that, like, yeah, we want to do the custom stuff.
And usually on the custom side, the investors, they have a little bit more money to play with, right? At least at the projects we're doing.
Yes.
We're doing, just so everyone knows, like we're doing these high-end luxury flips, or we're just repositioning those properties and we're holding them and doing the short-term rentals, and they're high-end, large, a lot of waterfront homes, a lot of historic homes, and these properties have a lot of meat on the bone, not only when it comes to the margin that the investor can make on the flip or the reposition, but also in the monthly and yearly cash flow that comes from having a high-end short-term rental property, right?
Yeah.
So those investors, you get there's multiple different types of investors, and those investors that have that vision of something that's higher end, they do have a little bit more money to spend, and it's kind of fun spending other people's money.
It is. I mean, yes. Yeah. And, we get to do things, I've got 5 kids, and our ideal home right now for our family would be like stainless steel walls, concrete floor.
Stainless steel walls and concrete floors.
We don't have the luxury to be able to, do those things that we would like to in our house. Because I'm not going to spend, $60,000 on stairs, floating stairs, because my kids will destroy them.
Right.
But being able to do that for somebody else, it's great, because it gives us the ability to put our hand to something amazing and then turn it in, this, like I said, mediocre project into a showstopper.
Yeah, you're getting to live vicariously through your clients in a
100%,
way.
yes.
You're like, one day when the kids are grown, I'll be able to have something this nice.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I've been able to do it, practice over and over again with our clients, and then...
Right. And then you'll really know what you like.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And then it's kind of like an art, right? Like, it's kind of an art that you do, and every time you get done with a project, are you ever satisfied? Do you always want it to be different or better?
Yeah. I mean, there are always things that, I got to give myself the benefit of the doubt. Even though we've been in it for 21 years, there's still things that we learn every project, and or things that we've never done before that we're like, man, I can't wait to do that again.
Right.
So yeah, we leave. There's always. I was a former college athlete, and even if you get a W, there's always that one thing I wish I could have done that better. So that followed me into my
yes. And then you get the L's too, right?
Oh yeah.
The L's teach us so much.
We don't need to spend too much time on those, but
the audience wants to know what the L's are. Do you want to talk about one of the L's?
Let me think about some of the L's.
We're talking about losses here, guys, by the way.
Yeah. And they still do happen. We have a team, and actually we had one of our team stand-ups this morning where I brought everyone in. We don't do that. We do that about once a month. And we talked about some of these things that, and I told them, I said, we can lose the money, but don't lose the lesson. That's one of the things.
That's a good mantra. We can lose the money, but don't lose the lesson.
Yep. So we have those still. Some of the biggest ones, I for me personally, and this doesn't necessarily speak to the whole culture or everyone within our company, but I want to satisfy our clients. Like I want to do what they want, desire, need, or think they need. And sometimes I say yes too quickly or to too much. And I would say customer expectations are one of the things that I spend a lot of time balancing, trying to meet. And I feel like there's losses in that. That's kind of an intangible.
I don't know about
response.
you, but in my business, so, I'm a Florida realtor. I broker all pretty much investment property deals on the buy and sell side. I own a vacation rental management company called Stala, and I will say, real estate is actually easier. And the reason why that is because when I have a real estate client, typically I'm dealing with them for 30 days. Right? Or less. Mm-hmm. Maybe slightly longer, but it's shorter. On the property management side, I'm working with that client for years. Right. And sometimes the same probably for you, you're not years, but it's a long time, a long project cycle sometimes. Some of these projects we're doing are 6, 7 to 9 months, and that's a long time to, hold hands with the client and walk together. And I don't know about you, but I find that I have to constantly be up leveling my expectation setting skills, and I have to be so direct, so clear.
Yes.
Because no matter how hard I try to set expectations, sometimes it's just not conveyed for whatever reason. Maybe I didn't say it clearly, or maybe, I try to take responsibility always, right? Instead of saying, well, like, they just didn't understand me. But I'm always like, man, like, how can I make sure that these expectations are just set and we're on the same page? It is so difficult.
Yes.
So I couldn't even imagine your side of things.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that our clients want to misunderstand or that they have unreasonable expectations. I really just think it's that if you don't know what you don't know, and someone who's never done a $700,000 oceanfront renovation, they don't know what they don't know, and they're not in your shoes. They've never done that project, so they don't understand that it takes 6 months to put in a pool, right? Or all those little nuances, even though you can try to set those expectations. So I'm just curious, like, business owner to business owner, what do you do to, like, be better at setting expectations?
I love this. This is to hear another owner say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because this again is one of the reasons I think we've met later in our career. There's a lot of water under the bridge for both of us in our journey in our careers that we've gotten to this point. And I think the reason we're and I'm lumping you into this, but for me, we've really hit our stride. Or I feel like even personally, I've hit my stride in the last couple of years because in large part of what you're saying, like I didn't know how to convey expectations properly or in a way that would be clear and understood by the client. Now, it's not perfect. We still, there's still things that we're working on, but it's how do we communicate expectations? That was the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how did you get really good at that?
Yeah. It's listening.
You are a very good listener.
Oh, all right.
I have to say, when we're on projects and we're doing stuff, I'm like, man, like, Steve is really taking this all in. Like, you're quieter, I would say, like, than me, right? I'm so loud, but, like, you're quieter, but, like, you are absorbing like a sponge. You're just like taking it all in and you're listening. So yeah, absolutely. I think I could probably do better at that.
Yeah. And it's really getting, because every client's different. Every client has a different reason why they're buying what they're buying. They have a different long-term vision. They have a different financial situation. They have a different experience with construction. Some have little, some have a lot.
Yeah.
And so being able to absorb all of that and then know what to say, because and that comes with experience. It's the more that you've done these, the more you've learned, the more lessons we've taken, which allows us to be better at absorbing and then painting, or mapping out expectations and the journey together.
Yeah.
We're in a relationship. That was another thing that while you were talking, it's like we're entering into a long-term relationship in terms of working, if I'm a barista at a coffee shop, our interaction is quick. It's you give me your order and then we fulfill that order and then you're out the door.
Right.
But for us, we're in this for months, and we try to communicate that to our clients. That again, it's not a marriage, but
it's very similar.
It's similar. Like, we need to be able to talk. Yeah. We need to be able to be open.
Yeah.
We need to also talk more, not just about construction. We need to because that your personal life will impact what happens on the job. And if you're going through something, it's
so crazy.
Show up.
Yeah, it's like who you are, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so it's true when you have clients that are anything that's going on in their personal life, that definitely can spill over. And one thing that you shared with me recently that I thought was really cool, and it was so crazy to hear from, a a man that's a general contractor, right? Because everybody thinks about like how tough like guys are, right? And you know, I'm not being sexist here, but like, you know, you're swinging hard, big stuff every day. You're like doing projects, you know, like you are a manly man out there doing stuff, right? And you said something to me that really I was like, wow, I got to see a little bit of a other side of you. You said, hey, you know, I recently had a conversation with a mutual client of ours when we're doing, you guys are going to get to see that project. And you said, you know, we just like really talked about like our fears and like, it was like a vulnerable moment of like what they were afraid of and what I was kind of afraid of and like how we were both feeling this pressure. You're on a tight timeline. And I was like, wow, like, is your general contractor talking to you about your fears?
Right.
Because if not, you need to call Steve because like that to me, do you want to expound on that?
Yeah. So the situation you're talking about is we're on a tight time frame with this project, and you know there's pressures obviously on our side, but if all I'm thinking about is what my experience is, you know, one, I'm neglecting another important experience in my client. Like what are they what are they going through? What are they thinking? And is the stress, because for me the stress is, again, it boils down to meeting client expectations. And my wife would tell you that when she can tell when I'm burdened with something, and it's more times than not, it goes back to client expectations. I feel like I'm not meeting them, or I've disappointed them, or I'm feeling the pressure to come through
To perform.
And it could just be that I'm misunderstanding. And so what a simple conversation could alleviate in terms of my stress and emotion could have been resolved if I would have just said, hey, client, like, how you doing? Like, let's just have a conversation, and we do that. We'll have open, straight up. I'll ask you how you feeling, because this happened on another project recently where different client, but we're walking through. We'd gotten through most of the demo. We're putting a lot of stuff back, so new tile flooring throughout. Bathrooms are coming together. There's still a lot though, and so I took the time to just ask. It was a husband, wife. The wife, I could tell she was like. She had not been in a project like this.
She wasn't
this
seeing
is her
it.
first time, and so I said, you know, how are you feeling? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Because I've seen enough clients where they're like deer in the headlights, and they're like, and I got it, like, okay, how you doing? Yeah, you're feeling that's normal. Don't worry. That's a lot of our clients do this. I just, you know, let me paint a little picture of where we are and what's going to come down the line, and it's going to be great.
Be okay. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
So this is a relationship. We gotta be able to build a bond and have open communication. Talk about the things that maybe you wouldn't talk about with others.
That's why I love working with you, because I can guarantee you 99.9% of general contractors do not ask their clients how they're feeling. They would probably run from that question.
Right.
Okay, so like that's really cool. Actually, so my father-in-law introduced me to a new client yesterday, and he's going through some crazy stuff. And by the time we got done talking, it was like maybe 15 minutes on the phone with him. He's like, man, I didn't know I was getting like a therapy session.
Yeah.
I was like, it kind of is that, because this is sometimes some of the most stressful situations in their life. And, you know, like, again, they don't know what they don't know, and they're just having to trust. They're having to trust so much in you and what you're doing that it's hard. You know, some people, especially like, I like to control things, you know, because then I'm like, well, if I control it and I do it, then I know it'll get done, right? And I'll know I'll get results. And I know there's probably a lot of clients out there that are just like me. I mean, maybe I'm a control freak. I don't know. I've tried to let that go. But like, you know, it takes that trust, right? And you would not be where you're at if your clients couldn't trust you. Right. 100%. So that's what's like just so cool. So anyways, I know we went on a tangent on that, but
it was worth it.
Yeah. So where do you think that we complement each other on projects?
Compliment. What would you say to that?
I would say that I am the vision, you're the application.
Yes.
Like I think that I obviously have done you know, a lot of projects recently with you, like we're in progress and all of them. We haven't actually finished any right now, but you guys are going to get to see that journey. And I think, you know, depending on what job it is, right? Telling you like, here's where we need to be. Whether we've got some high-end flips, we've got some high-end short-term rentals, and they're very different types of projects because what you need for a short-term rental is very different from what you need for a flip. And so it's telling you like, hey, we need to be at this valuation when we're done with this project. How are we going to reach that, right? And here's my vision. Like we're doing the Spanish style property in downtown St. Augustine on St. George. You know, like this needs to feel like a Mediterranean resort, right? It needs to feel like a Spanish revival, you know, like a place of character and culture. Like you're in Spain, right? So like bringing you that vision, and then you bring like, okay, well, here's what we can do. And here's what we can't do, right?
Yeah,
like
that was, as you were talking, that was the same project that I thought of. That to expound on our compliment with one another, because you do a good job of the overall vision, the numbers post construction.
I love the
that
numbers.
I don't know where the property needs to value post construction like you do to have it make sense for the client.
Right.
But yes, I can tell you from a construction standpoint, you know, what's going to give you the bang for the buck, or you know, in this situation, what's going to give us that finished style that you're looking for. So yeah, and that was one that when we walked it, you know, we had some ideas about, and I think we landed on my idea. With the front porch.
Yeah,
so
we love that idea. We're going through like ideation right now of all that, and that's going to be really, really fun. So when we walk into a property for the first time, like what are the top 3 or 4 things that you're looking at? Like what are you evaluating? Like what's going on in your contractor brain? I want to know.
Yeah, it's the feasibility of being able to restructure the layout. You know, I think everybody's been in those rentals where it's like, this room doesn't make sense. Like, why did we, like, this just doesn't flow? Or you can obviously tell they turned this closet into a, you know, 7th bedroom when it doesn't meet the overall aesthetic feel. And so immediately I'm walking in looking at how can we, you know, either add bedrooms or open the space up or restructure the current layout to make it a luxury rental that our clients are striving for. So even the project that we're going to visit, it's a really funky house.
Oh, that one's funky.
Because it was an original house that we're not even sure when that structure was built. And then they did an addition in 1999, and it was like they built a house next to the existing house and then tied it in with a weird roof. And so you walk in and you're like, I don't know how to make sense of what's happening. Like, what's the flow? Like, so immediately, you know, we're looking at how can we make this make sense where it feels inviting, open, and cohesive. So those are the big, and then obviously we want to with most of the STRs, we're looking to add bedrooms, and amenities.
So in regards to amenities, like what are you looking for? Like, is it just the footprint of the property versus the survey and the lot? Like, how are you kind of analyzing that?
So are we talking exterior as well? Yeah. Because and you'd probably be able to expound on this more, but every rental's got to have its thing. It's got to have its theme and its wow factor. So where can we inject that? Because the bathrooms, those are the easy part. Like, we can make those have the feel that our clients want and the renters are going to want. It's the other touches. It's what's the kitchen or like in this one, what we're doing is we're adding a secret door into the kids' bunk room.
Ooh.
So the kitchen's going to have, and maybe by the time we get there, some of this will be set up, but there's going to be a pantry. It feels like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The pantry, and they'll walk into this pantry, and it's going to be into the bunk room. So it's stuff like that. And then exterior-wise, having something other than just the basic,
Right.
bland outdoor living space, but how can
Yeah.
you have a pool or a
Just make it outdoor resort, essentially. We're in Florida. So everybody wants to live outside, and we want all the things. We want fire pits, we want putt-putt, we want an outdoor kitchen, we want pools, we want jacuzzis, we want hammock areas, we want all the things outside. So yeah, definitely, and I know that some of that's you and some of that's not you, but it's like, we're doing some additions right now. So when you're doing additions, you really have to consider that too. Okay, we're adding 4 bedrooms onto that one beachfront. So it's like, how are we gonna, where are we gonna put everything else, right? So yeah, I've loved really like going into those projects with you and trying to figure out how to make it work best and also stay in budget and just get the results we want.
Yep.
So what projects do you see investors like overspend their money on and like they don't get the return out of it? Where are you seeing that happen?
Again, a property's got to have its thing. You can't just buy a property, do a renovation, and expect it to be successful. It's gotta have its thing. So, walking into a property and it not having the potential for a pool, outdoor living space, a good cohesive layouts. Because again, I've stayed in those rentals where it's like they tried to make this something, but they missed.
Yeah.
and it's like, that's not going to be a long-term success.
Right.
So I would say you don't just look at a property and think, hey, this has a lot of potential, but does it have the right potential for what you need it to do? Would probably be the biggest category in which we see.
What are some of those examples of, like, for example, the properties you stayed at where they missed the boat?
Yeah, it boils down to I for me, and this might be because I'm a contractor and I notice things. My brother-in-law is actually a contractor as well. And so when we do family trips, like his family, my family, we'll go someplace and it's like the first couple hours is him and I doing a home inspection.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't done right. And I don't know why this, wasn't up to code or whatever.
You guys are going through the whole property.
We're analyzing it.
Yeah.
Actually, we stayed at one of your properties in Tennessee.
Yes.
And I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I think I texted you and said,
You did?
I didn't say this, but like essentially I've completed your home inspection.
Yes. Yes.
And it is very well done.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I had stayed at one of your places.
Yep.
It's the finishes. For me at least, it's you got to make it look like it was done on purpose and it was done correctly.
Right.
Otherwise it just
Gone are the days of people buying properties and just doing the cheapest renovation and then expecting it to perform, whether it's on a flip project or on a rental project. Yes. People can feel that. Yeah. There's something about, like, I'm a big believer in energy. There's an energy to things. And, like, even the studio we're in, like, you can tell they put, like, love and care and energy into it. And they actually were, like, invested in what that end result was going to be. And you can just feel that when you go into a property. If you're trying to take the shortcuts, if you're trying to, there are no shortcuts, right? But people are going to feel that. And ultimately it's going to hurt, in every area, whether it's cash flowing for your rentals, whether it's your ARV, if you're trying to do a flip, it's just best to just do it right. Like, just do the right thing, which I've learned that the hard way, because the old me was someone who took shortcuts, right? Like, I was like, oh, I can just do this faster, right? Because I'm impatient and ADHD. It's like, so I had to learn the hard way. Like, there are no shortcuts, and you've really just got to do it right, or else, it's going to come back somehow, And
that goes back to the question you asked earlier about what projects light us up. And it is the one that the client understands that, like, we're not gonna cut shortcuts here. We're gonna do it the right way, but just understand that also comes at a cost of a
little bit more money, just a little bit.
And it's not always that would probably be another overspend that I would say investors can sometimes make, is the material in which you don't need to use marble on the floors.
Right.
to give it that luxurious feel. There's other options. Because our tile setters can lay you the highest quality standard of floor or walls and make it look like, wow, this is amazing.
So through their expertise of how they complete the project, they can really make it look nicer than maybe just what it is at a basic level, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah.
100%.
I got to ask you this. Everybody's dying to know. Why do general contractors never get done on time?
Ooh, so this is a, and I'm even subject to this. I would be lying if I said I've not met budgets or time frames. We still we get better at it as the years go on. I think it goes back again to setting proper expectations. Me listening to the client, and again, this I might be beating a dead horse here with this project that we're going to visit. We had this conversation with the owner prior to even launching off. Is like, we want to have it done by the end of the year, which was about 4 months from start to finish, and it was essentially a 6-month project condensed into 3 or 4 months. And you try to be clear and upfront and say, we will do what we can do, but just understand it's a lot. And when it feels like, you get to month 2 or 3 and all of a sudden, and this is the pressure that her and I were both feeling was, we're in the final month of the year, and it still seems like there's a lot to do. And because there is still a lot to do,
what do you think is at the root of the timeline, though? Like, because it's just such a notorious thing in the industry that GCs just are never going to finish on time. Like, it's a joke anytime you're talking about a project. So, like, what is the root of it? Is it that you're relying on people and they don't come through? Is it that you don't estimate it correctly? Like, what do you think is at the root?
I would say 2 things, and it might be more than this, but definitely these 2. And it's can be just the mismanagement of the sales approach. I want the job. I'm going to tell you whatever I need to tell you to get the job. Now that's not me. I'm not because one, I don't need to. You've given us so much work recently that it's like I don't need
any more work right now.
So if it's not right, it's not right. There's probably that. There's a large part of just wanting to sell the job, wanting to tell you whatever you need to hear so that you can sign me on, and then that leads to disappointment, disaster. If we're not up front, one of the things I've learned is I don't ever want to be in that situation because I've been in those situations, and not maliciously, not because I was trying to sell my client the job. It was just I didn't realize it was going to take this much longer, and now here we are, and you're disappointed, and I'm stressed out, and so that would be one of them.
And there's just sometimes you just can't predict everything. You just don't. Life happens. Like you just don't. Like there's so many variables in what you do, right? Yeah,
100%. And that needs to be communicated up front. As the expert, the contractor needs to be able to step back and see, okay, these are the areas of concern. The unknowns, and then be able to put those on the table with the client right away and say, you want to do this, and you want to do it in 4 months, but with us opening up this wall and trying to add an LVL and just understand we're opening a can of worms that could add weeks to the project. So the expert contractor should be able to communicate and see that ahead of time.
Right.
And I would say another thing that catches contractors is just being too busy.
Yeah.
And that has happened to us too. It's like, we get so busy, and it's like you got too many balls in the air, and you need to.
Yeah. It's hard to focus when you have so much going on, for sure. Yeah. And that's why you've got good project managers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We're looking to hire another one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so qualified project managers,
Yep, hit us up.
Yep, for sure. And if you had to call out like 3 red flags on projects that just tell people like, don't do this.
I thought you were gonna go 3 red flags of clients. Like what are?
For clients. We'll talk about that on another show. Yeah, I know those as well. But like 3 red flags on like projects. So like, you know, people listening, they may have not ever done a major renovation. I have many people in you know, my book of business and just people who are watching and following that they want to get into these high-end luxury flips or just flipping in general, or just doing the buy, renovate, reposition, rent strategy, the BRRRR strategy, and doing that with short-term rentals. But like, what's something like they go into a project and maybe it looks really shiny and like, oh, this works and there's a lot of meat on the bone, but like, what are some major red flags when you're looking at a project that you would just tell people like, hey, don't do this?
Yeah, there's a couple that I would, you know, roofs. You can really get sideways depending on how extensive a roof, how extensive roof damage is. You know, so if there's a leak in a roof, you really want to understand as best as you can what that could potentially turn into, because it could be huge. Remediation, you know, we live in Florida, Northeast Florida, humidity is a thing, and water penetration's a thing, and so just understand that. And I think you do a great job of negotiating these deals ahead of time, is when, because you do home inspections.
Yep.
Thorough. I know you're a home inspector, and he's gonna find everything.
Yes.
And so when you see that as a potential you know, something that you have to address, then negotiating that deal properly. But
yeah, so we recently did a project. I'll just give you guys some numbers. So I've been doing mold and mildew inspections on every single deal now, because that really can show you some things that are unknown that you may just not realize that are going on with the property. You know, leaks hidden in walls, you know, things not being vented out correctly. Like, you just don't know. And if you don't, a lot of home inspectors, I actually was under contract on a property over in Destin, and someone recommended a home inspector there, and I'm calling him before, like trying to just vet him. And I was like, hey, did you bring your moisture meter? He's like, oh no, I don't even carry a moisture meter. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have a moisture reader? I'm like, this inspection is crap. This isn't nothing. Like, I can't even trust this inspection. You didn't even moisture meter the walls or anything. Like, how do I know, you know, that property is sound? I don't, because you didn't even use a moisture meter, you know? So I've been doing the mold and mildew testing on almost every property that we buy. And of course, we do a very thorough home inspection. Home inspectors are not built the same, right? Like, they are really not. My inspector typically takes 3 to 4 hours on an average size property. Most home inspectors are in and out in an hour or hour and a half, right? So what is he doing so differently that he's double, triple the time? And that's because he's very thorough. So, you know, doing the mold and mildew has really helped uncover some water issues. And like, one of the deals that we're working on together, you know, this property was an oceanfront property. It was originally listed for about 1.7. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and I think it was about 1,800 square feet or so. And it was an active short-term rental and wedding event venue. And we went into that deal. We actually negotiated originally, we'd buy it at like 1.65, and we were getting like 125,000 in seller credits, because, you know, my buyer's going to use those seller credits to go and make improvements to the property. Well, as we got through all the inspections, when it came down to everything, because we did such thorough inspections, because we had the mold and mildew people in there, because we had you in there, right? Because we were really doing our due diligence before we even bought that property, we were then able to get a $350,000 credit on that property. Now that he's able to remediate everything, and there were leaks, there were major mold and mildew, there were roof issues, there were all those things. Now, he's a seasoned investor, he's a developer, he had the appetite for that project, but you know, someone would have bought that at face value for list price and probably not even known about all that. You know, most people buy those and make big mistakes, you know, because they're not really doing their due diligence and making sure that they're understanding what's currently going on with the property, and then where do you want to take it, and how are you going to bridge that gap? So that $350,000 in seller credit, now we're going to add 4 bedrooms, we're going to completely remodel, we're going to add a pool, you know, we're literally moving the septic so we can expand. You know, it's totally worth it, and the deal made sense for him. But
and this is, you're speaking to the value that the team that, and I would give you the credit for this, the team that you've built. because if you don't have that team established with, a thorough home inspector, a realtor that knows the questions to ask, the things and the people to bring to the table, and then the contractor that can come in before you even make an offer,
right.
You're missing opportunity, or you're going to have things that, hello, this is a surprise, and not December 25th, open your present and be excited. This is going to be
that would be a good Christmas gift. And like on that deal, I mean, the sellers knew that stuff was going on, and none of it was disclosed. If you think people are putting stuff on the seller's disclosure, you're wrong, because they're absolutely not. And of course, that's highly illegal, and it can really come back to bite them. But you cannot depend on what anybody else tells you. Yep. You've got to go in there and do your own digging and your own due diligence and make sure that like you're not walking into a mess. Or if you are walking into a mess, you're ready to do that. You're ready to clean up the mess, and you have the funds to do that, right? Because it's going to definitely cost, a pretty penny to do that. I mean, that project's what, like $500,000 or $600,000 in renovations, and so. But it's gonna be worth it.
And to toot your horn, because I think we should spend some time on this.
No,
it's like if there's an investor out there,
yeah,
that's looking for opportunities, and I know you work not just in Northeast Florida, but you've done a phenomenal job building a team that's gonna really catapult an investor into the right direction.
Yeah.
And so I can't say enough, and I think, one of the things that we've talked about recently is I can't remember how you asked it, but it was when did you know, help me.
Like when did you know that this investor is different? Like me, you're talking about when we're different.
When did I find out that you were different?
Built different. Built diff. That's what my daughter say. You're built diff.
Yeah. And honestly, it snuck past me for probably the first year of knowing you. I didn't realize the impact that you were making in the industry. And it wasn't, anything more than I was probably just floating around on my own.
You were doing you were living your life.
My thing,
right.
And it was, we circled back just recently in the last 5 months or so.
Yeah.
You brought us in again on one of those deals that you were doing your due diligence, trying to negotiate, and wanted another opinion from a different contractor. I came in, was able to provide that. And then I think you got significantly more money off of the listing price.
That one was good too.
Yeah, and then that was it. That was the moment. I was like, and then I think there's a couple other deals that we worked on that I'm like, okay, Nikki is. let me just snuggle up real quick.
Let's keep working hand in hand.
Let's keep doing this.
We're gonna keep doing it for sure. And I can't do what I do without you. Like nobody in business or life is successful on their own. It takes literally an entire team. I mean, just putting together this show today, there's 10 people behind this, right? And we all have our strengths, and I'm definitely an imperfect person, and there's things that I am not good at, but I stay in my lane and I do the things I'm good at, and then I just bring in good people that know how to bridge that gap. And so you're obviously a very critical part of the team, being that general contractor. And people that are listening, if you want to invest, we absolutely can help you. I'm a part of the Savvy short-term rental real estate team. We have short-term rental investment expert realtors across the country. My market is here in Northeast Florida. I really focus here, but I can partner people with our team across the country. We also do management. So for those who have short-term rental properties that, can't or don't want to run the day-to-day operations, we offer that service. So Stela is our vacation rental management company. We're serving, most of our clients are investors that want tax benefits, or second homeowners too. We have those, a lot of snowbirds as well. Or if you're just wanting to buy and sell, here in Florida, or you're looking for flip deals, high-end flip deals. I don't really do a whole lot of the lower end ones, because a lot of our flips we're doing into, high performing short-term rentals, like the top 1% short-term rentals in the market. But we have been actually focusing on now with one of my team members building like a whole deal funnel for us to find these off-market properties so that we can continue to feed, ourselves. I want to do a flip project next. So we're going to be doing a project together soon. And then just to continue to feed my clients, we're going to be doing that. So if you could renovate one celebrity's house, who would it be?
This is on my vision board. I want to do a Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh.
So I just recently had knee surgery, and the surgeon is actually the surgeon for the Jags. And I'm asking the question, is this my way in? Because I would love to do, one of the Jags players. My son is 9, and he's big into sports and watching sports. And we're not Jags fans predominantly.
Nobody is. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
Kidding,
There's a cult
kidding.
following out there. We're Lions fans, but I know it would be amazing to be able to do an NFL player's home. So
right.
If there's any Jags players out there that see this,
right,
I'm your guy.
Yeah, hit him up for sure. Yeah, and anyone in particular, or just any Jaguar?
Any Jag. Yeah,
okay.
Let's go.
Okay, cool. Had you taken him to the games? You go to the Jags games?
We haven't yet, and it's just schedule wise. We have 5 kids, so it's like when's the time?
I know, and all of them play sports and do all of that. So
there's a lot.
Cool.
There's not much free time.
No, I understand. Yeah. And did you get that knee surgery just so you could get in with the Jags? Is that what you did?
It was definitely an investment that I'm sure will pay out. And when I cut that check, I'm like, this is not a loss. This is a win because it's going to come back to me.
Yeah, it's not only an investment in your knee, in your physical body, but into your business for maybe the connections. That's how it is, though. Like, one person connects you, and then, you open up a whole world, and now you're in rooms with people that you never knew before, and, it's such a bigger, greater opportunity, And I think, like, thinking about like the type of people that we put ourselves around, because a lot of people would hear this and be like, oh, well, you just want to do a Jaguars place because like it'd make you a lot of money. I don't think that's it at all. You're an athlete.
Yep.
You were close to going pro, right? Mm-hmm. And playing baseball. Yep. And it's like the mindset of someone that is at that level, like the amount of things that you can learn from them and, just absorb that energy of like their discipline and their motivation and their dedication. Like that's probably why you want and it'd be cool for your son.
Yeah,
right?
it'd be absolutely cool. And we're all about serving our clients. And so whether you're an NFL, linebacker or, an investor from out of state, we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my investors, like, they're like that high. I learned so much from them.
100%.
This week I was like diving in with one of our mutual clients on 1031 exchanges because I've never actually done one myself. And I'm just learning so much through his like actual real life examples right now. And that's what's cool about like, I don't know, I'm sure you learned something from every single one of your clients too. But what's the most annoying design trend right now?
Most annoying design trend. There's not. Let me think. Because I made notes.
Check your notes.
So it's a lot of times it's bathrooms. But I'm gonna say stairs. We did. We're doing custom floating stairs. It's a showstopper.
Are those the glass ones?
Yeah.
You're doing glass.
Well, there's 3-inch oak treads and then glass handrail.
Ooh, that's gonna look so good. Yeah. We're gonna show them that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They're gonna get to see that eventually.
We'll see that eventually.
That's
the finished
great.
Product. Yeah.
All right, so we've had an amazing show. I'm so grateful for our time together. Can you tell everybody like how they can find you?
Yeah, so our biggest thing is just our website. It's bbco.homes. That's our landing page, and if you ever need to get in touch with us, that's a great resource. All of our information's on there. But yeah, and then obviously you can find Nikki, and she'll put us in touch. But
absolutely happy to connect.
Yeah.
Are you on any socials?
I am, but it's more personal, which is fine too. I don't mind you diving into our personal lives. That's important. But we'll have to add those.
We'll make sure we get everybody all the links and everything. Any final words for our listeners?
If you're looking for a team that's going to give you, the highest quality service and experience, it's really what you've built. You've done a phenomenal job getting the right people in the room to be able to, give our clients everything that they need. And so, I can't, if you're looking to invest in Northeast Florida, get a hold of Nikki.
Yeah, get a hold of me. We'll talk for sure. Thank you so much for being here.
My
It was a
pleasure.
great show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for listening.